having a setup to trade on the market is going to be super important. It's going to be one of those rules that you need to set for yourself. And that rule will be something like, I will not trade unless I see my setup. One of those setups could be going for support and resistance for your entries and your exits. Now, this could be on any time frame, but the longer you're looking to hold the play, you just go to higher time frame, something we're gonna look at. And then if you're just kind of looking to trade support and resistance for the day or not for too long, you will look at smaller time frame. When you see your setup, this is your guide to say, okay, if it hits resistance, okay, I'm going to exit when it hits support. Or when it hits support, I'm going to exit when it hits resistance. So, enough explaining. Let's go to the chart so I can give you guys a visual of exactly what that looks like. All right, so I entered into a play to show you guys this exact setup. As a matter of fact, I waited for it because I was done trading for the day, okay? I made my money and I was done. But you know what? I said I'm going to enter a play, and I am going to show you guys exactly what it looks like where you have your support and when you have a resistance level. And you can have multiple supports and multiple resistance levels, okay? So when one breaks, you can kind of focus on the next one and vice versa, okay? Now, what we're going to do here is over here, we are on Walmart, okay? And I am on the 15-minute time frame. If you are not familiar with the time frames, okay, each candle equals that particular time frame. So one candle is 15 minutes of price action. Then, okay, so we got 15 minutes here. All of this happened in 15 minutes, okay? This right here is the same thing. Each candle is what took place in 15. What was the high? What was the low? What was the open? What was the close? Every single candle. Now, when you go to higher time frames, like a 30-minute time frame, okay, each one of these candles equals 30 minutes of movement. Okay, so all of this here, it pushed all the way up here and it was all the way down here. It opened and it closed. All of this represents 30 minutes. Okay, so that's just what that means when you pick different time frames. And you can pick any time frame that you want, right? So this is the hourly time frame. The 1 minute time frame, you will see a lot of candles. Okay, it will be a lot of candles, and I mean a lot of them. But when you don't want to see too much clutter taking place, then you just go to higher time frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the 15-minute, okay? So I can show you guys what I mean. So as you guys see here, this plate is currently open. Now, when you are looking for a support and resistance level, the main thing you're going to look for is what level is this price consistently hitting, but it will not break. So if this one candle equals 15 minutes, this right here is 15. So that's 15:30. 15:30, that's a entire hour. Okay. So for an hour, now this candle here, it did break. This is what I mean by you can have multiple resistance level. You see how hard the bears came in and pushed this thing down from this 86 and pushed it all the way back down here to this 84 level. That right there would give you a slight guide to say, okay, that would be my next level of resistance, because look at how hard they came in and they did not get back up there to that level. Okay, so right here they tried to get over it, they didn't do it. A little bit here, kind of further down, but up here they tried it again. It touched it, but it didn't break. Again, a touch, but did not break. Okay, so it was here and it pushed all the way back down to this little support level. Okay, got to this support and look what happens. We bounced and went all the way back up to this level and it did not break. Now, this is when I was trying to search for a stop to kind of do this video. I saw this and none of the others were presented. Everything is kind of moving sideways because of how the day has gone. Don't get me started on that. But when it did that, I said, okay, I'm going to give it to that next candle and let that next 15-minute candle form. As you guys see here, it went up again and it did not break that level. So I entered up here on this candle here. And as you guys can see, it is now pushing back down. And I plan to exit this play right here at this blue line at this support level. Now, when you find support and resistance, you find it the exact same way. The same way we see how it keep hitting this level over and over again and not breaking, the same way you get with your support, okay? And you find a level where it has hit a couple of times or multiple times, whether in the last hour, the last 2 hours, maybe the last week, and it did not break, that is where you will use as your guide to say, okay, once we get here, we're probably going to start pushing back up. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that play. All right. Now, another tip is if you have multiple contracts. If you have, like, let's just say 5 contracts. Well, let's just say 6. Let's even it out. If I had 6 contracts, and let's just say that if I'm writing this down and I have 3 levels of support, let's just say this comes down and it breaks this level of support that I have here that I'm waiting to exit at. But I also see that there's some possibility it could break that support level down here. I would probably sell 3 contracts here and leave the others as my runners. I'm sorry, sell 2 contracts there and leave the other 4 as runners. And by runners, that just means you're going to allow it to go until the price hits that next support level. So once it hits that next level that you may have mapped out, you'll sell 2 more contracts. Then you have your site set on the last support level that you will exit. So if I were to have 6 contracts here, I would sell 2 here. Okay. And then I would go down and start looking for where I would want to kind of set my sights on for that next. So I would probably look at around this area right up in here. Okay. As my next level of where I would probably sell another 2 contracts. All right. This is around this area. And then the very last would be at this lower level here. You see where they pushed it down to, and they pushed it right back up right around that 67, what is that, 60, no, 78, 76. Okay, so right up in here. So this would be where I would sell 2 around here in this middle area, kind of right up in here. Guys, see these little points up in here? I would probably sell the next 2 in that zone, and then at the very bottom I would probably sell the next 2, unless there is some sort of indication that will reverse this thing back up, and those other 2 levels are, there's no indication that they will be hit. I will go ahead and go out of that play. Okay, so when you are looking for support and resistance, you're simply looking for levels that are being hit over and over again. So if we're on the 15 minute, I'm going to go to the 5 minute time frame. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys how that looks on the 5 minute. All right, so we're going to go down, and you guys see it's the same thing up in here. Okay, hits here, and then you got a couple of hits here. And remember, 5 minutes, each candle equals 5 minutes. Okay, so on the 15 minutes, it's lesser candles. So when you go into lower time frames, you're going to see more and more candles. Right. So support, resistance here. This is the first resistance. Matter of fact, we're going to make it red. And let's see, and then we got our next one up here at our resistance. So what I was waiting to see was if they were going to push it above here and see if they broke this little piece here, it will open the door to kind of push back up here again, and I will wait till we got up there to enter the dance. But I wasn't sure how long it was going to take, or if it was going to get up there in time enough for the time I set to drop the video. So I said, all right, it pretty much showing its signs that it will not break this level here. This is a safe entry, and for me to be able to ride it down. So as of right now, as you guys can see, this particular play is up $61. Okay, it costs $212, and it is currently up $61. Right. So that is just the simplicity of trading resistance and support. Okay, I enter here where there was some heavy bounces, and then I plan to exit here. And this, I only did 1 contract. I didn't want to do too much for the video, using up the buying power. But hey, it was a perfect example and a perfect opportunity to be able to show you guys this play. Also showing it to you while it's in profit and it is moving. Support is at the bottom. Resistance is at the top. Yes, you can have multiple level of resistance, and yes, you can have multiple levels of support if you want, and if you have the buying power. If you are willing to risk, a little bit more money, get multiple contracts, maybe 2. You don't have to do too much, especially if you're new to it. Cool, get 2, and that allows you to take profit at one level and then see how things are going. But if things are not looking too good, and you say, okay, I don't think it's going to break this level and it's going to push back up, take your profits. Do not overstay your welcome, even if you are leaving a runner. Take your runner,